Hey guys, Sak here from sakitech, and in today's video we will be doing a full comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra versus the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Both of these smartphones are the current flagship offerings from two of the biggest rivals in the smartphone industry. As such, people are naturally asking questions. Questions such as, is the iPhone 15 Pro Max a better smartphone than the Galaxy S23 Ultra? Or is the Galaxy S23 Ultra better than the iPhone 15 Pro Max? And the most direct request of all is, just tell me which one is better. And in this video, that's exactly what we are going to tell you by doing a full side-by-side comparison of every aspect of these smartphones, such as the build, the camera, the speed, the software, and more. So if you want a crystal clear response, keep watching and we will demonstrate which one is the winner, or if there even is a winner between these closely matched super flagships. So let's dive in and start by comparing the build and design. So let's start with the actual build quality. Front and back, you will find the latest super tough glass on both smartphones. The Galaxy S23 Ultra uses an armor aluminum frame around the edges of the device, which is a high-end metal, while the iPhone 15 Pro Max uses titanium frame around the edges. Now, the titanium frame is partially made out of grade 5 titanium, which means it is a stronger build and is also going to be more lightweight. So the iPhone does have a small lead here in terms of build quality, but as you hold these phones in your hands, they both feel like $1 million. When you move on to the design, we have some differences. They both have massive frontal displays and they both look gorgeous. S23 Ultra has a large and tall display that dominates the screen, leaving tiny bezels on all four sides, with a hole cut out on top center, which houses the 12-megapixel selfie camera. While the iPhone gets the pill type cutout, relatively larger than the Samsung cutout, which houses the Face ID system and the 12-megapixel selfie camera. All in all, I must say that the design is a subjective choice, but in my opinion, the S23 Ultra pulls ahead. It seems more clean and futuristic in overall presentation from the front. However, on the iPhone, the new pill-style cutout looks considerably better than the old notch that I have always disliked. And the space around the cutout shows system alerts and background activities known as the dynamic island, which has appealed to a lot of people. Now, in my opinion, the small center hole cutout on the S23 Ultra is a better option than a larger pill cutout, as it is less intrusive while watching full screen videos, as I will show you very soon. Now, both smartphones come with water resistance with the exact same water resistance rating of IP68, so you can be rest assured both phones can easily handle a rainy day or an accidental drop into a puddle of water. You can even wash these phones with clean water, which will cause no problem. Both smartphones offer high-quality stereo speakers that produce a loud, deep, and rich sound, which is perfect for listening to any type of media. And one more thing, iPhone also now offers the USB Type-C connector after they were forced to do so by the European Union. This is definitely good for the consumer. So to summarize, in this category, so far we have an equal overall value from both smartphones. The iPhone has a lead in build quality, while the S23 has a lead in design. Now let's move on and talk about the processor, memory, and performance. Alright, so the iPhone 15 Pro Max sports a powerful A17 Pro processor with upgraded 8GB of RAM and can be acquired with 256GB of storage for the base model, with available 512GB or 1TB storage option. Starting price for the iPhone is $1,200. The Galaxy S23 Ultra also sports a powerful Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor with 12GB of RAM and can be acquired with 256GB of storage for the base model, with available 512GB or 1TB storage options. Starting price is also $1,200. Neither phone offers a micro SD expansion option, but like we said, both phones are available with 1TB of storage if needed, though at an unjustified price premium. Now, if we move on to the benchmarks, it is clear that the iPhone has considerably more raw horsepower than the S23 Ultra. Now, the real-world performance of both smartphones is rock solid with swift user experience. But as you can see, the iPhone is over 7,000 in multi-core processing power, which will definitely be useful when it comes to heavy-duty tasks. For example, editing 4K video files right on your smartphone, which is a rare but real occurrence. It also is going to have a greater graphical performance, which is able to produce smoother gaming performance. So in the performance department, the iPhone has the clear lead. The numbers here are impressive. Now let's quickly talk about the dimensions. You can see side by side the S23 Ultra is the larger phone, and that is because it does have a larger display. But in this day and age, nobody cares too much about the dimensions and weight as far as buying decisions are concerned. However, the S23 Ultra is the slightly larger and heavier smartphone by a small margin. Now let's move on to a much more important category, the display. The iPhone has a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR display with a resolution of 2796 by 1290. The S23 Ultra has a 6.8-inch dynamic AMOLED display with a resolution of 3088 by 1440. Both phones have super smooth 120Hz display refresh rates. Both smartphones also support HDR10 where available for superior video viewing quality. Now, both of these smartphones have fantastic displays that look stunning from every angle. They're not dull, they are vibrant. The S23 Ultra is sharp and clear and highly color accurate. The iPhone is also sharp and clear, also offering exceptional color accuracy. Overall, quality-wise, I cannot recommend one over the other as they both look very clean and crispy. The iPhone 15 Pro Max does offer higher peak brightness of 2000 nits in bright outdoor conditions, while the S23 Ultra tops around 1750 nits in bright outdoor conditions. This means iPhone will have slightly better daytime visibility. However, the S23 Ultra has one thing that does set it apart. First, the display is larger, so it has special appeal to anyone interested in extra display real estate. And also, movies and videos will feel more immersive, especially because there also isn't a huge cutout in the way. Imagine if your high-definition TV had a massive pill-shaped cutout on the side, which is what's happening on the iPhone. So there is that display intrusion that cannot be ignored. So while the iPhone has a brighter display, the S23 Ultra does have the more immersive display. Now let's move on and talk about the software experience. When it comes to software, it really is going to be a matter of preference. With Samsung, you get the latest version of Android and One UI that allows for a customizable experience, which allows you to fully tweak your smartphone to your own sense of style by using things like widgets and themes. But on top of the widgets and themes, you are able to access special features like the Edge screen, which is a side screen that allows you to add even more widgets of your choice, available at a swipe, and every single area on this phone is customizable, as you can see. You also have the option to download and install third-party launchers that can take personalization to the next level. iPhone's iOS is a more limited system. Yet with iOS 17, you do get enhanced customization compared to previous versions. But though on the surface it appears to be customizable, digging deeper, it doesn't come close to Samsung's Android and One UI interface. However, iOS feels more polished and has a superior app ecosystem. Especially when it comes to gaming apps, iPhone will deliver beyond Samsung simply because the Apple App Store has better games which run smoother than their Android counterparts. The stronger processor in the iPhone also helps with that as well. Now, that's not to say Android doesn't have any good games. Of course it does. But iPhone performs better when it comes to games, and the overall behavior of the system and the apps is more refined. That's really what it is all about in regards to software: an open-ended customizable experience versus a close-ended app-driven experience. Both systems deliver in their own world. Which one to choose remains with the end user. It's going to be refined simplicity versus customizable complexity. iPhone also has the dynamic island, which allows the space around the cutout to dynamically show system alerts and background activities based on what apps you are using. It's a great concept, But then again, like we said, Samsung has the edge panels that hide on the side, which can be invoked with a swipe of a finger and offers some great tools and widgets. And because Samsung is customizable, you can even replicate the dynamic island type animations around the whole cutout if you wanted to. iPhone now has a customizable action button which allows you to press and hold it so you can take specific actions like launching the camera or turning on the flashlight. However, again, Samsung already has a fully customizable side/power button that does the exact same and even more. However, the S23 Ultra does have a hidden weapon that the iPhone can only dream about. And that is the S Pen. S Pen is a multifunctional tool that brings a new dimension of functionality to the S23 Ultra. It allows for precision writing, precision sketching, and precision drawing if you so desire. You can create masterpieces if you have the skill and patience right on your S23 Ultra. You can also navigate your smartphone with the S Pen, which is cool. And you can even use the S Pen as a remote control to control your smartphone via Bluetooth from a distance. So in the software department, the S23 Ultra simply has more features. Now let's move on and talk about the camera. The S23 Ultra has 4 rear cameras and 1 front-facing camera. That's a total of 5 cameras, while the iPhone 15 Pro Max has 3 rear cameras and 1 front-facing camera. That's a total of 4 cameras. Both phones have a 12-megapixel selfie camera on the front. Now on the rear, S23 Ultra has the following setup: 2 telephoto cameras for zooming in up to 10 times optically, a 12-megapixel super wide-angle camera for wide sweeping photos, and a 200-megapixel main camera that most people will be using all the time, although it is essential to understand that to use the 200-megapixel option, you do have to manually enable it on a need basis. The iPhone 15 has one 12-megapixel telephoto camera for zooming in up to 5 times optically, a 12-megapixel super wide camera, and a 48-megapixel main camera. Now, taking general everyday photos on both of these phones are highly satisfactory. The end result is what you would expect from top-end flagship cameras. Most consumers will simply launch the camera and snap a photo, and whether you use the super wide or the wide cameras, the end results are stunning on both smartphones. Samsung does provide more saturation and brighter colors, while the iPhone is more dull but color accurate. But when you dive in a little bit deeper, you can see the S23 Ultra has a more capable telephoto lens combo. So here we have 2 photos by the S23 Ultra. One of them is at 1x, the other one is at 30x. And even at 30x, I'm able to actually make out what is written on that little tag. Now compare that to the iPhone, and you can see the iPhone at the bottom. I don't even know what that is, but again, on the top at 30x compared to iPhone's 25x, it is much clearer on the S23 Ultra. So zooming on the S23 Ultra is certainly better. When it comes to nighttime photography, the iPhone 15 Pro Max does have a lead. It does take more detailed nighttime photos, as you can see when you look at them side by side. When it comes to video, both smartphones offer 4K recording at 30 or 60 frames per second or 1080p at 30 or 60 frames per second. Both phones offer excellent video stabilization to take steady video with minimum shake or blur. The average consumer will be satisfied by the video capture quality of these phones, but the iPhone does have a smoother consistency and slightly higher quality in their video department. I think for just video recording, iPhone 15 Pro Max is actually better for 1080p and 4K footage, specifically with slightly better video stabilization. Now the S23 Ultra does have some extra capabilities in the video department. It can record in high quality 8K at 30 frames per second with HDR using its main rear camera. I do think most people won't be using it, so perhaps it's not a big deal, practically speaking. Now, S23 Ultra also has a Pro Photo and a Pro Video mode natively built into its camera software that allows you to manually tweak and customize settings like white balance, focus, ISO, shutter speed, and more. On the flip side, iPhone offers ProRes and log video recording capability that might appeal to more hardcore video recorders. So you can see we have pros and cons for both of these cameras, but as a total package, they are amazing cameras regardless. I do want to emphasize when it comes to video recording capabilities, the iPhone is probably the better choice. But when it comes to the availability of more extreme options like 8K recording, 200 megapixel resolution, and 100x hybrid zoom, the S23 Ultra is a better option. But anyway, let's move on to the battery. In the battery department, overall, you get a full day of battery life with medium to heavy use on both smartphones. Initial testing does not suggest that the iPhone 15 Pro Max to have better battery life than the S23 Ultra. So as of now, it looks like we have a draw in the overall battery life. Meanwhile, both the iPhone and the Samsung S23 offer wireless charging, which is fantastic. S23 Ultra has 45 watt super fast wired charging capability, which makes it charge faster than the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So the S23 Ultra can charge fully from a dead battery in 1 hour. iPhone takes almost 90 or more minutes. Additionally, the S23 Ultra offers wireless power share, which allows you to charge other smartphones and compatible accessories such as wireless earbuds and smartwatches using the back of your S23 Ultra, a feature the iPhone still does not have. So it appears that in the battery department, the S23 Ultra does have more features to offer with similar battery life. Now let's talk about the biometrics and security. The iPhone 15 Pro Max offers a powerful Face ID system that uses your face to unlock it. It is fast, convenient, and secure. The S23 Ultra has a fingerprint sensor that is built under the display, which also works flawlessly. In this case, this is going to be mostly a matter of choice since both systems work great, but Samsung does get extra points for having it hidden under the display without sacrificing screen real estate. Alright, so we have covered just about everything. Now let's move on to a conclusion. To understand which phone gives you more for the money, let's quickly list the advantages of the S23 Ultra over the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and then we'll do it the other way around. So the S23 Ultra has faster charging and wireless power share features. S23 has a better design, though this could be a subjective choice. The S23 has a more aggressive camera setup with extreme options like 8K recording and usable 100x hybrid zoom. It also has a built-in S Pen, which simply adds another dimension of functionality. And then we have a larger display with less display intrusion. And that's that. On the flip side, the iPhone has the following advantages over the S23. It has a monstrously fast processor, which also means smoother gaming. It does have a brighter display. iPhone also has better video recording experience overall with the rear cameras. And that's for the iPhone advantages. Now otherwise, both phones have top-notch build quality, great flagship cameras, crisp and bright screens, water resistance, wireless charging, and more. However, looking at all the metrics and seeing how the S23 Ultra has more features over the iPhone, we can conclude that the S23 Ultra is the better smartphone with more features for the same price. It is important to note that the iPhones have been introducing more features and more customization. So even though it's a win for the S23 Ultra by a small margin, that margin is getting smaller and smaller unless Samsung starts adding more features to pull ahead again. It is important to also mention that both of these phones are top-tier phones, and the end user should decide which one they want based on specific features they like. But I did tell you guys which one I thought is the winner. Now, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop them down below and let me know. For now, guys, have a fantastic day, alright?